Hey there, it's Rachel Mullins, the host of Hashtag No Filter Fridays on Public House Media.
Hey, it's Baxter Colburn here from Public House Media. Did you know that we just added a store here at Public House Media? No, I'm not talking about a grocery store where you can go buy apples or bananas or peanut butter, which are all fantastic, especially when peanut butter's on all of those. Anyway, we've added a store here at Public House Media so you can not only come and represent your favorite podcast network, but also represent your favorite shows as well, too. Just go over to thephmedia.com and look in the top right corner where you'll see the button that says Store. Click on that and you can search through all of our great products. Or if you go to our Facebook page, Public House Media, you can see on the left-hand side a tab that says Store. All of our products are listed there as well too. It's the new Public House Media store. You don't want to miss it. It is fantastic. Buy some of that great swag to support your favorite shows and to support Public House Media. Check it out today.
Hi, this is Emily.
This is Lindsay.
And this is Elizabeth,
co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Once you are done with this episode, we hope you'll come check out our show, Beauties and Headcanons, where we talk nerdy to you about fandoms, fan fiction, and all pop culture for nerds that you can think of. A new show comes out every Friday.
Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Do you remember the first time you ever swore? Now, I know this might be a touchy subject for some people, but really think about it. When was the first time that you let your tongue slip? Oddly enough, I still remember mine. Is that weird? I don't know. I was in 6th or 7th or some other grade. It was a rainy, gloomy day. Being 11 years old and about 200 pounds, I would have preferred recess inside, but old Principal Dave had other ideas. So we played kickball. I decided to play the outfield since many of us were weak and couldn't kick it that far. But destiny would look down on Sam Kirby with scorn on that day, as just before the recess bell rang to call us sprouts inside, someone hit a moonshot over our heads, rolling across the street. I turned slowly to see what I had unfortunately expected. Everyone made a mad dash inside. I ran to get the ball, tripped on my footing, and fell flat on my face. Can you imagine that? Rain pouring down, exposing the damp curvature of the perky man boobs of an overweight 11-year-old under a white t-shirt with a blonde bowl cut, falling in slow motion like he was in the Matrix. What a sight to behold, and in that moment, not my greatest moment, in utter angst and frustration, I let it out. Immediately, I felt awful. What had this unhealthy, plump kid done? Shame on him. But whether we like to admit it or not, once in a while, swear words, we let them slip out sometimes. If that young boy saw the critical and commercial hit Deadpool in 2016, his bowl-cutted head would have exploded. And now Ryan Reynolds, the merc with the mouth himself, is back for the sequel. Did this movie leave me with a shameful pit in my stomach like in 6th grade? Or did it explode with laughter? Let's find out on this episode of Cinema Stories. Trick, you guessed it. Woo! You is right. This is the show where we talk the latest in movie and TV news and reviews. We're brought to you by the lovely Public House Media. Check out their Facebook. Hit me up on Twitter at Samuel_J_Kirby or Sam Kirby17 on Instagram for cool photos and stuffs. Check out Cinema Stories on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. Check out the PH Media store and get you some Cinema Stories gear. No more time for delay. It's time to make the chimichanga. This is Deadpool 2. Now, I believe anyone, me, you, Even Deadpool from X-Men Origins Wolverine with his mouth sewn shut. Anyone can judge a movie by taking a look at 5 key aspects of filmmaking: plot, direction and cinematography, character, and performance. Now, the first foul-mouthed affair had a simple plot. It was really kind of a love story between 2 really messed up people. Good guy chases down the bad guy who did him wrong, revenge tale, all that jazz. In this movie, Deadpool has been his usual vigilante self since the events of the first film, kicking bad guy butt and taking names. Something downright awful happens to Deadpool, which causes him a lot of emotional stress. Looking for some belonging, he joins the X-Men as a trainee. On the first day, they meet a fire-throwing mutant child threatening a group of people. Later on, Cable, a cybernetic mutant from the future, travels back in time to eliminate the kid, since in the future, he does some pretty awful things. Understanding that this child's future has not yet been set, Wade Wilson must find acceptance and a family with this child, come to terms with his life, and save the kid's future. The plot, again, is filled with pretty simple superhero tropes. Another story where something terrible happens to the titular character, and he has to learn to overcome it. I do think that the plot, though a bit tired, is more interesting than the first. It really isn't driven by Deadpool's need for revenge. It's about him coming to acceptance with himself and his situation. But other than that and some neat aspects of character moments and interactions during the journey, the plot is a parody of many superhero action films. So it's a bit contrived, cliche, it's like your Terminator, Back to the Future time travel kind of movie, and it's hard to critique fairly. Because it's using the tropes it makes fun of, but since it's a parody, it's part of it, or is it just lazy writing? My head hurts. The problem is, they use the time travel family get-together plot, and though it's done well, they don't really play with it or do anything new with it. Hopefully in the third film, if they decide to do it, they can pull out something a bit more creative plot-wise. This one worked, but next time they'll need to tread lightly. The plot is enjoyable, yet contrived and derivative. It yields a lot of great character moments, but hopefully for the next film, they'll have something a bit smarter up their sleeve. Now, Tim Miller, the director of the original, left for some creative differences. Though I would have liked to see if there was some more creativity in his vision, I thought that David Leitch, one of the directors of John Wick, did a pretty good job. There was, oddly enough, a lot more jokes in this one, so naturally I laughed more, and naturally some jokes did not land. The action is directed fairly well. I enjoyed the stunts, and the opening montage is just so awesome. It would have been cool to see more hand-to-hand combat since Leitch is known for it, but that's a small complaint. Again, with a pretty basic plot, Leitch tackles it fairly well. He lets the performances and characters work their stuff, which is what you want in Deadpool. And this movie is 10 times crazier than the original. So much zany, off-the-wall, jaw-dropping, shocking things happen. And it's great. This is the comics Deadpool you want to see. Some things you're like, I don't know if they can get away with that, but they do it. It has the guts and edge to do it, and I really enjoyed it. From a visual standpoint, this film is more aesthetically engaging than the first, though it doesn't really make leaps and bounds ahead of it. Save for a few scenes, they are pretty bland and flat-looking movies, which I've always wondered why they do it that way. Maybe it's budget. That aside, though, the direction suits the film well, making for a blast of a time. Most of the humor hits, the characters are directed well, and even though the visuals aren't great, it didn't affect my enjoyment of the film. Now, all of the gags that you know and love and gawk at in these movies are driven by these characters and their performances. At this point, come on. Ryan Reynolds and Wade Wilson have merged into one entity. He is so good in this role. It's the same Deadpool you know and love from the first. And honestly, what they do with the character here, he's depressed, he's willing to actually die. This makes his comedy, fears, and motivations mean something more than him just wanting to look pretty again. I don't know if I love how they did it, but I enjoyed his character's journey, though it's kind of cliche. I just like seeing the Deadpool zany character go through something like this. Cable, played by Josh Brolin, is a fun addition to the movie. His character isn't super complex, but he is welcome. Josh Brolin is having quite the year, man. Thanos, Cable, he's got Sicario coming up. He's just a great actor, and he got ripped for this role. Like, dang. The supporting cast is all great. Zazie Beetz is the standout among the supporting characters. Zazie is downright one of the most talented actresses in Hollywood. She's amazing in Atlanta. Her turn as Domino was an excellent addition. Dopinder, TJ Miller as Weasel, Negasonic Teenage Warhead aren't in it much, but they all come to play. Colossus is awesome here again. I love his relationship with DP. Julian Dennison as the kid is excellent. He was in Taika Waititi's Hunt for the Wilder People. He's really a rising star in comedy and has some dramatic moments as well. Vanessa, played by Morena Baccarin, isn't in it that much. I'm not sure how I like the way they handled her character in this story, but her relationship with Wade is charming when we do get those moments. And the X-Force is downright lovely in this movie. I love the way they're utilized, especially Peter. Thank God for Peter. The characters are all the same ones we've come to know and love. Their interactions and performances had me laughing the whole way through. Solid job by the cast. Deadpool 2 is as crazy, off the wall, and downright hilarious as you'd expect. Though parody teeters the line of cliche, I had a blast with this movie. The characters bounce off each other really well. I liked Wade's journey, though I think the plot could have been handled with a little more creativity. Performances are hilarious and dramatic when they need to be. Deadpool 2 seems like it was ripped off the pages of comic books. It's just a fun time. I'd give DP2 3.5 out of 5. This movie is off the wall fun. The in-jokes, the visual gags, the baby legs. I mean, that was just unsettling. If you like the first one, you're going to enjoy the sequel. And make sure you stick around for the after-credits scenes. They are hilarious. They use Cable's time travel device to, I'll leave it at that, but, seriously. Stay for after the credits and music. Stay. After the music. After the music. Anyway, now that we've made those delectable chimichangas, it's time for today's segment of Cinema Stories, where we talk the latest in movie and TV news. The Bohemian Rhapsody trailer has finally dropped. Bryan Singer's I don't know if it's his. He left the project. Let's call it the Rami Malek starred Queen biopic. The trailer has received overwhelmingly positive reactions. Malek looks like a good Mercury. The editing of the trailer was spot on. The audio mix of the song beats, it was really interesting. It's more of a teaser, so it kind of seems like any other biopic, but it looks enjoyable, and I'm excited to see it. Queen is my favorite band. Freddie Mercury was the best popular vocalist of all time. Fight me. Hopefully that crazy little thing called Bohemian Rhapsody will rock you this November. According to Variety.com, Jake Gyllenhaal is set to join the Spider-Man Homecoming 2 cast. He's being eyed to play the antagonist Mysterio, one of the more interesting character designs in comics. It was rumored that he had been the frontrunner for Batman in the upcoming Solo film. If this will affect that, I'm not really sure, but Gyllenhaal and Keaton teaming up for a Spider-Man sequel? That sounds pretty great to me. Deadpool 2 won the box office this weekend, opening to a staggering $135 million, finally dethroning Avengers Infinity War from the top spot, which garnered $28 million. The original flick grossed a total of $783 million. It was a breakout smash in 2016, paving the way for financially successful R-rated heroes in this new age of superhero films. Let's see if this film can reach that total as well. And that's all for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in today, ladies and gents. It's always a blast to hang out with you talking about movies. Make sure to check out Public House Media and check out Cinema Stories on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. A very special shout out to Ben Jarvis. He used to go to my high school. He works at my local theater. A few weeks ago, I walked into the theater, talked to him, and he listens to my podcast, and he said good things about it, and that's awesome. If you're listening to this, thank you so much for supporting me, and I hope you like this episode. If you have any comments, concerns, or critiques, let me know. I just want to make the best show for you guys. Guys, I really got a kick out of Deadpool 2. Is it as good as the first? I don't really know, it's freaking crazy. I'm not even sure if it's a quality movie, but in true DP fashion, the movie left jaws on the floor with the off-the-wall humor, meta references, and gross-out visuals that I will never unsee. Say what you want about it, but I'm glad these movies exist. The superhero tropes and stories can wear on you. Deadpool parodies them so well and really pushes what a lot of people expect out of these films. Let's just hope that the franchise doesn't teeter over that fine line and fall into the tropes it mocks. But in Deadpool we trust. And hopefully DP3 can bring those gut-busting, exhilarating laughs again. Later, folks.
Seriously, I could be playing Parcheesi with Alex inside. Whoa! Oh, wait! Don't say that swear word, smaller yet oddly bigger, Sam. Don't get your roles in a twist. Here, take this.
Wait, who are you?
I'm you. From the future. Here, take this.
Wait, what's this? A shake weight? An extra large blue shirt? But I love wearing tight white shirts. Eminem wears tight white shirts all the time.
Eminem doesn't have a bowl cut and jug, Sam. Trust me, everyone will thank you later. Godspeed, kid.
Screw you, Sam. Everyone hates your opinion. One day, I'm gonna make a podcast. Yeah, I'll complain all about my opinions and all the movies that I don't like. Yeah, you'll see.
Whatever, small fry. I mean, large cheeseburger. Later.
That was so weird.
That was really weird.